Right now on Moshed Potatoes, we say fuck you to Trump. We then go to San Francisco to catch up with the one, VNV Nation. That's both right now on Moshed Potatoes.
Hi, I'm Ronan Harris from VNV Nation, and you're watching Moshed Potatoes.
What's up? It's your boy, Judas Corpseboy, and I'm back, baby. Yeah, I know, it's been a few months, but you know what I was off doing? I was off starting a record label, and to kick this episode off, we're going to review my label's very first release. It's a little thing called Fuck Trump, and I think you're going to like it, so let's get to it. Fuck Trump is 6 cuts of Bay Area rock and roll from the best bands I could find in the Bay Area. It all starts off with the band Disarray and the song We're Not For Sale. It's classic D-beat / grindcore that's sure to get you in the mood to throw the bums out of office. Shit, Trump didn't drain the swamp, he is the swamp! It's followed by Street Rat by the Dead River Rebels, and it describes exactly what Trump is. Hell, if it wasn't for this guy's dad's money, he'd be in Times Square selling watches and everybody knows it. Again, that's Street Rat by the Dead River Rebels. Killer track. Next up is World in Disarray by the band Absolute Darkness, a cool slab of death metal to show you what the world will become if it hasn't become it already by the time this comes out under Trump. Political chaos and destruction. Oh man, you're gonna want your bomb shelter for this one. Next up is War Crimes by Panhandlers Union, a bit of a departure in sound as it's murder folk. And this describes exactly what's going to happen under Trump still. It's not just Trump, it's Trumpism. Things like the war on drugs will get worse under Trump. Kiss your rights bye-bye. The next up track is Defend by the band Defend. Get ready for the resistance. This is the sound of people raising up arms and mobilizing against the crime of fascism that's coming out of the White House. Last up is another slice of death metal by House of Wolves with the song Take Control. This'll get you in the mood to throw them out. This is the sound of people rising up and taking control of their government and taking back their country against the fascists who are currently occupying it. Hey, you know it makes sense. That's 6 bands for the price of $5. You can't beat it, and you can get it right now off Amazon MP3 or iTunes. Hey, just look for the cover, tell them Moshed Potatoes sent you, vote with your wallet and say, fuck Trump. Now for our band interview. A few months back, we caught up with Ronan Harris of VNV Nation and asked him a few questions. Well, not much else to say. Let's hit it. VNV Nation, the band that sells out concert halls internationally, was playing tonight at a club called the Bottom of the Hill in San Francisco, California. A considerably smaller venue compared to their usual concert halls. It was the result of doing a show at a small youth club in Germany and the fans wanting them to do the same thing in America as well. True to form, tonight's show was sold out. Moshed Potatoes caught up with Ronan Harris to ask him a few questions. I started out by asking Ronan how the tour was going so far. So Mr. Harris, how's the tour treating you so far?
It sounds cliche. It's amazing. I'm having so much fun. I mean, we're playing 2 albums, 2 special albums. So rather than people hearing new material or whatever, the audience reaction seems to be a lot of people. Sorry, I'm a bit hoarse. Air conditioning in the bus. Went into meat locker mode the other night, and I woke up sounding like this. It's like watching people go through their lives, songs that meant so much to them, and it's a very intense and a very interactive and emotional experience. Some of the shows I would regard, definitely Portland, as possibly one of the top 3 concerts of my life. It's been that kind of a show. It's really been beautifully intense, and the comments afterwards, I'm always out meeting people after, have been spectacular. I mean, it's people sharing the very depth of themselves and sharing their most personal thoughts, and it's a very humbling experience and the most human, because that's what these songs have been for me when I wrote them. They were my catharsis, they were my confessions, my observations. So when people say that these map to their lives, I don't think you can get a better compliment. So it's really been a wonderful experience. Tonight, of course, will suck. Just because I've said all this now, I've jinxed it. So tonight's show will be, yeah.
You don't know that.
It's San Francisco. Come on, I mean, this club is amazing. It's like we're playing in something that looks like a voodoo lounge. I love it. It looks like something like it was dragged off Bourbon Street, and it's full of the most eclectic collection of esoterica and all manner of characteristic iconography going back over the last 100, 150, 200 years. So yeah, can't complain.
I then had a standard question that I ask most artists I interview. It's been 22 years after the release of Advance and Follow. If the Ronan Harris of today could go back in time and talk to the Ronan Harris of then, what would he tell him?
Nothing, because I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't be here without him. He had to make all the mistakes. I would have told him one thing, which is I would have given him a time, a date, and said, you need to do this on this date, but not to trust somebody. And I would give him some advice about one thing. But I think everybody's got their... I'm not a should-have, would-have, could-have person. I don't believe in it. Everyone has regrets. Everyone has those moments where you get that cringe and you think, my God, I did that. Or I made that mistake. But I've soldiered on, because without those things, I would not have been propelled forward. I would not have made the choices I'd made. And in many ways, it actually, seeing the example of how the music business can be, full of certain types of characters, made me attempt always to it actually reminded me always, serves as a reminder to me always that I should never be like that, and never become like that. So it's kept me in check. So everything's been a great learning experience, no matter how bad. I don't think anything was destructive. There were some things I would have changed, but not Advance and Follow era. I would not have told Ronan at that time what it was going to happen, because he wouldn't have believed it. He wouldn't have handled it. I never made music to be something. I made it for fun. I thought I'd share it. 50 people would buy the CD. One would like it. That's what I always thought. There was an interview before I released Praise the Fallen with a small fanzine in England, which was covering electronic music. And I said, they said, what are your hopes with this? And I said, well, just hoping, sell at least 1,000 copies. That'd be nice. And, I just want that one person out there hears it and thinks, someone else thinks like me. I wrote that album for myself. I never wanted to release it. The fact that I'm here is a culmination of many bizarre moments in my life. I wrote that album for myself, and I gave copies on cassette to a couple of people. And one of my friends, he didn't plead. Plead would be the wrong word. Plead would be a nice way of saying it. But please get this out, because people needed to hear it, and because he got something very personal from it. And I said, but that's what it was for me. It was me describing myself to me, something that was my affirmation. And it set me on a path that I had never anticipated. I had a career. I worked as a computer consultant, and I worked in certain fields. And it propelled me on a path that I would never have anticipated. And I'm quite happy, and I think I've realized on this tour, in going back and playing the album Empires, and then the album Automatic, which is like the pre and the post, just how much my life changed. And that I reached a point where, and I said this the other night, with friends here who I've known for 17 years, I managed to stay the person I liked for the most part, and I'm very grateful for that. That even if I've deviated at times through stress, and I put myself under an awful lot of stress. I demand sometimes too much of myself. I've been stressed by external factors which were not of my own volition, but they happen. And I still managed to stay sane through it all. And that's what this tour in a way means to me. So there isn't really much I would go back and say, except I would maybe go back to Ronan post Empires and tell them two things, but I can't even say what they are. But one is I would give them a date and tell them what decision to make on that date, and that not to trust certain people, that certain people were actually out to get them. rather than be friends. We were proposing as friends. It happens. It's the business.
The interview then segued into Ronan Harris's love of automobiles.
Speaking to your love of old cars, do you still have that 1936 Nash Ambassador sedan, and have you added any more cars to your collection?
I have a 1938 Nash Ambassador. It actually got moved to a garage in Hamburg to be further fitted. So a labor of love project that is coming along. What I have is a 48 Chrysler, and that's why I absolutely adore this car. It's an American car. It's here. And it's mainly for, I love America. I have a lot of love for the United States in many ways. I think there's a lot of people who think, when you say that, they think, what, today? And I'll go, America didn't just pop into existence 24 hours ago. We're talking America of the last 100 years, 200 to 300 years. You know, I love its ancient culture as much as its modern history. I love the 20th century in America because America defined the 20th century. And having a 48 Chrysler enables me to travel all the back roads. And I have met the most amazing people. People just coming out of nowhere to talk to me and asking, why is an Irish guy driving a 48 Chrysler? And me and a very good friend of mine in St. Louis, we dialed the car back from what somebody turned it into. And it was lurid, and gave her a beautiful black dress and pearls, and let her out on the road. She's a lady. She's not a girl. She's a lady. So I have a love of. I'm not a grease monkey. I have a love of style and design. So for me, the attraction is there are certain cars that I think are spectacular classics that should be kept for all time. That they've influenced even modern cars. Most modern cars I find ugly. I still wouldn't say no to a top of the line Tesla, but
who wouldn't?
True.
I thought I'd ask next about the performance. Did playing a stripped-down stage set make a difference in the show versus the usual larger-than-life VNV stage setup?
That's actually people keep asking that, but we do tours where we play small shows. Like in a year, we'll play a country where we're going to play to a crowd of 200-300 people anyway, because we don't have a big following in that town, but it's a really intense following, and we're playing in a small club. So I'm as comfortable on. When I say we have a different crew in different places. The band lineup, the stage lineup changes, whether it be North America, sometimes South America, or Europe, or whatever. But I'm the omnipresent factor, I suppose. I don't know. We'll play South America, and we'll play some cities where we'll get a smaller crowd. And then we'll play in Germany, we'll play 2,000 on a tour, or whatever. That sounds quite, I don't want to make it sound like a brag, but. And then we play a festival where we're playing to 25,000 people because that's a festival. It's not our festival. They're not there. We're happy that they stuck around to see us. But I guess I do the best with it as I can, and I go out to entertain. But these kinds of shows, they're intense, they're energetic, and the emotion is stronger because this is more of a fan show. This is a show for people who've been listening to this music for a long time and are intent about, I want to hear these two albums, because when you hear that announced, that's something special. So afterwards I stick around and we do signings and what have you, and people come and they tell me their stories, and some of them are the most profoundly personal things, but I share little bits back, private things, and someone says what a song means, and to them what it did for them, and I say, well, what it did for me. Some of these songs, in a way, gave me the focus and the reason to stay alive, because I was going through some situations in my life that, again, that's why I wouldn't say anything to Advance and Follow Ronan, because I had to go through that. That's it, in essence, what the song Chrome would be about. It's this process that happens to so many people. That is it's the baptism of fire, and it's something that everybody has to go through. Without it, you will not evolve. So I find the shows intense, beautifully energetic, very passionate, very funny. American audiences are very chatty, and it lends itself to being able to interact with them in a really lovely way. And they become very, very personal. And that's something I never want to lose. So I think doing this tour, it started with doing a small show in Germany at a youth club. And they asked if we could help them out. Did a show at a youth club, tiny place, where like local bands, like teenagers who go to the youth club where they can hang out, got to play in their little bands. And we were playing on that stage. The place was packed out. We had so much fun. We made a lot of money for them, which was great. And we support a lot of different things in Germany and other countries too. So it started with that, and then a lot of people asked, could we do it again? So we did a series of small clubs in Germany. I mean, some of them were like 200-300 tickets sold out in half an hour. Beautiful. I mean, it's a lovely experience. You can't, sorry, I'd be lying if I said, not happy with that. I was very happy with that. So a lot of the American fans, North American fans, wanted us to do it here. I said, please, it's actually here Automatic and Empire's played. And I have to admit, one song can't be played because of technical problem, and I won't go into that, but we're resolving that.
It's not standing, is it?
No.
Thank God.
It's a song off Automatic called Photon, which I normally play in Germany, and it's me and the drummer, and it's we have a small technical issue. We tried it at the first show and it was a disaster, so we said, okay, let's maybe give this a rest until we're resolving it. Someone in Germany is actually working on it, so all good.
I had to ask, VNV being the constantly evolving entity that it is, did Ronan go to the same places for inspiration still, or did that evolve and change as well?
My places, I guess, are things, experiences. They could be everything from books, a lot of literature, film, a lot of music. I'm always listening to new music, not that I specifically search it out. Every now and again I go and search outside of my comfort zone, and sometimes I hear what I'm interested in, sometimes I don't. I am always evolving as a person. I don't want to do the same thing twice. I mean, it'll all have a sort of a sound within a framework, but it's been an evolving process in that my ability to produce a song or write a song has, I think, improved. For me, for what I'm trying to achieve. And ultimately it is me writing music for myself and sharing that with other people and hoping that they'll like it and trying to make it into a certain
That was just
level.
my phone.
Oh, sorry. Trying to make it to a certain level that it will appeal. And that's been very, very important to me.
Right.
So the creative process, it's really the studio, the inspiration around me, the vibe around me while I'm working on the album. And I'm working on a new album, obviously not while I'm on tour.
Right.
I mean, if I get ideas, I've got my computer and I've got a little keyboard and I can work away.
VNV was joined on this tour by the one-man electronic band Evandersphere. I decided to ask him what touring with him was like.
I met Scott a couple of times when I played in Edmonton. And he and I always connected, and I was actually felt very flattered that Scott would take the time to talk to me. He's a very, very lovely person, intelligent, and a very compassionate person, very friendly, great to work with, great. But what struck me was I thought, aren't we a bit poppy? And you're kind of like the more industrial DJ, and aren't we kind of like uncool? And he and I have hit it off, and he's always kept in touch, and he said, I'd really like to go on tour. And I was like, okay, I really want to pick the right tour because my philosophy has always been, I want people to get value for money. I want them to get another band that maybe I think they should hear, whether that's bring a band from Germany or whatever, which has been hit or miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's a pain in the ass. However, this time around I thought, no, this is it, this is right, this is your vibe, this is the club. And he's doing a one-man show. I said, if you can do a one-man show, this will be amazing because these stages are not going to be big and you've got to bring out your whole table and all your gear. I'm a lover of modular synths, so he and I geek out all the time. We've been sharing music taste since word go. We have not stopped talking. We have bonded in an incredible way. We have the most profound conversations about our understanding of not just music, but arts, the arts and creative endeavors. And we've been sharing so many styles of music with one another. I'm sharing, this is what I listen to, and he says, I'm really trying to think about doing this. And here, what about this? And he'll play stuff to me. And we're just constantly thinking, we're just going to have to get a terabyte of hard drive alone just to buy all this music, just to host it. But it's an incredibly creative and inspiring relationship. And when we go on tour with the band, when I go on tour with the band, I guess I don't know how to say it. I love to make sure that they are part of the family. There is no you're separate from us. If they deal with that, that's great. If that changes, we have to be like, we have to gel, and we've gelled. This is like a family. And he came on here and he said he's never seen anything like it. It's like everybody looks after everybody. Everyone's there. Something needs to be done. They jump right in. All our merch showed up in Seattle. We went through Western Canada. The bulk of our merch showed up in Seattle. Like 40 boxes. I said, right, we need to open all these boxes. Dude, it's the whole tour. It's got to last, you know? Right, we need to open all these boxes, get everything checked just to find out what it is. All right, cool. We've got like 2 hours till doors. It's arrived late, Can anyone give a hand? Before I finished my sentence, everybody was there. Sharp blades, opening up boxes, checking. Okay, I got this. Okay, write it on the box. Do this. Everyone's helping out. So I do the same, and I want the same for Scott. I think his music is brilliant. I love what he does. And he's evolving as an artist as well. But it's amazing how people are actually getting it. And I think it's got to be presented in this way. I think in a bigger environment, I'm not sure how it would work. So that's me thinking, I don't want it to fail. I want it to work for him. I want it to work for us, obviously. And I think these are the right gigs for it to start with. But I've talked to him about, I think we could maybe evolve this and do further like collaborations. We should. We both have so much in common, but even in other branches of music which have nothing to do with our own respective genres, so it's fun. Short answer, love it.
Ronan proved himself to be a man of deep thought, which matches up to the music VNV Nation is famous for. The show at the club that night was sold out and the energy was intense. Who will we be interviewing next? Who knows? This is Judas Corpseboy, your roving reporter, out.
Thanks for watching this episode of Moshed Potatoes. Hey, I'll try to make the next one sooner than the 4 or 5 months this one took to come out. If you like me, support me on Patreon, buy a t-shirt. All the links are in my description. And as always, peace out and have a good day.